Welcome back to my digital diaries. This is episode 2 of our series Elevating Sitecore with PowerShell Automation. Today we are diving into one of the most powerful use cases, how to insert and update Sitecore item using PowerShell Script. Instead of writing lengthy C# code, I will show you how we can achieve the same with faster, cleaner and more flexible powerful automation, including some real world examples. Before we start, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to stay updated. Drop a comment if you are excited and let us keep the hype going. And of course, hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. Alright, let us jump right in. So our use case is insert and update Sitecore items using PowerShell Script. Now imagine this. Your content team has been tasked with a migration, a huge set of articles into Sitecore. It can be blog post, knowledge base entries, maybe even a video tutorial. Each one follows a neatly defined template with fields like title, author, meta tags, thumbnail and content. Now here is a catch. Normally a content author will open the Sitecore content editor, create a new item and then fill in each of these fields one by one. That works fine if you have got 2 or 3 articles. But what if you have hundreds of articles? This is where real challenges show up. First is there are hundreds of articles to be created. That is a mountain of work. Second is the manual process, and that is slow, repetitive and prone to human errors. And third is the irony, that is that all data is already exist in CSV file, maybe exported from an older system or carefully maintained in the Excel by the team. Then why should anyone retype all of this, right? So at the end, what is our goal? So what we want here is we want a way to take the CSV, upload it once into the Sitecore media library and then run the PowerShell script using Sitecore PowerShell extension. The script should automatically create each article under the articles, map each columns directly to the Sitecore template fields, and finally give us the successful and failure summary at the end. In other words, what used to take a days or normal efforts, that should turn into just a few minutes of automated precisions. So let's see how we can do that. Why not C#? Why PowerShell script? Now at this point you might be wondering, why not just C# code for bulk item creation in Sitecore? After all, that's the traditional developer way, right? So here is the problem with C#. First is the development overhead. There is a lot of development overhead required. You need to write the code, compile it, package it and deploy it to Sitecore. Every small change means updating code, redeploying and testing again. That slows everything down. Next is a lack of flexibility. Any change in logic requires code updates and redeployment. It is not flexible. C# jobs can only be run by developers and then the code lives deep inside the solution. It is harder to maintain or quickly adapt. So not content author friendly, longer time to value and harder to maintain. So maintenance script in C# are buried in solution code, while PowerShell scripts are stored and editable inside Sitecore for quick iteration. So bottom line with C# is it adds time, efforts and dependency on developers for something that should be simple. Now let's flip it. This is where PowerShell for Sitecore shines. Why PowerShell? First point is a no deployment needed. With PowerShell script, no deployment is needed. You write the script directly inside the Sitecore, run it immediately and see the result. Then faster and agile. So PowerShell script is fast and agile, perfect for a bulk operation, quick fixes for one-time imports. It even empowers the Sitecore admin to execute tasks themselves without waiting on developer cycle. PowerShell scripts are reusable and modular, so you can parameterize them and apply them to different templates or use cases. And the best thing of PowerShell, that is, it is integrated with Sitecore. It respects permissions, workflows, and item APIs while also giving you interactive tools like prompts, tree picker, and reporting. So the choice is clear. While C# work for a complex production grade functionality, PowerShell is the smarter, faster, and more flexible tool for container operations and automation inside Sitecore. Alright, let us jump straight into the demo. I will walk through how the script works in real time, and later we will break it down pieces by pieces so you can understand every part. By the way, the full script is already available on my LinkedIn blog and GitHub repository. I will give the link in the description. Feel free to grab it from there and use it in your projects. So let's start. So I have logged in into my Sitecore CMS. So what we are going to do is we are going to create articles, multiple articles in this folder. So basically this is our article, and this is Sitecore templates user defined PowerShell demo article is our template. So in this template we are having fields like meta keywords, meta description, meta titles, then author, time to watch, thumbnail, title, and content. So this is our template, and we are going to create our new templates, the bulk templates inside the article. Okay. And what we are going to use is a sample CSV. This is a CSV which we are going to use, where you have a title, meta description, meta keyword, author, time to watch, thumbnail, and content are the fields which we are going to use to create the data inside a content editor, and every line will see comma separated values. So title for first is a getting started with Sitecore, and we are going to create the item with the item name will be its title only. Okay, so there are three articles which we are going to create: getting started with Sitecore, PowerShell for Sitecore, and SEO best practices. Okay, so this is a sample CSV, and what our requirement is, the content editor should upload that into the media library. So I have uploaded the sample file in the media library. Now by using this, we should able to create a multiple articles within the article folders. Okay, for that I have written one script. Okay, this is the script. I'm going to break down this into pieces later, but right now I will just walk through this script. So first part, we are giving some prompt. What is this prompt? That I will tell you later. Okay, then we are uploading the file and we are reading that file. Okay, and then finally we are creating it. So these are the major part of this script. Okay, we will run that into the Sitecore. So you must be knowing now how to use the Sitecore PowerShell ISE. Okay. I have copied the script in the PowerShell ISE of Sitecore. So this is the script. Let's run this and see what happens. So if you see the current articles folder, there is only 3 items. Now I am just executing it. So first thing is, it is asking to pick your CSV file. So it is asking to pick. So if I click here, the content tree will open. So we want to open this content tree also in that PowerShell demo sample. Okay. So it is giving the response as CSV import finished successfully. So, and if you see the logs, true, created. Okay, so these 3 items are created. Let's go into the Sitecore CMS and see articles. We have first is getting started with Sitecore. That item got created here. You have a meta keyword, meta description, title, author, even the thumbnail has come. Okay, the content has come. Similarly for PowerShell for Sitecore, we are having the data here. Okay, and if you see this data, it will match to the CSV also. SEO best practices also created. So all 3 data which is there in the PowerShell script, it's created here. Okay, so let's see how this script has worked. Okay, we will break down the script into pieces and we will try to understand how the script is what script is actually doing. So now I'm breaking this script into multiple parts. So first part is a prompt user to select CSV from media library. So before we import anything, we need to ask the user which CSV should be used. That's where this part of the script comes in. So think of it building a small dialog box inside a Sitecore. So the script will look like this. So first part of the script is this only. The prompt user with a contain a tree rooted at media library. So what is this properties? We will see props variable. Okay, so we'll see that the properties of the dialog. Here at property is just a PowerShell hash table that defines how dialog should look and behave. It defines using parameters, the actual field that user fills in, that is your parameters. Then you have a title. So this is your title. Okay, so title is basically the dialog window title has. Then we have a description. So some helpful text under the title, that is your description. And then you have a height and width, which decides your dialog size. So this is what we defined here. If you see in the script, so if we see in this script props where we have a parameters. So in the parameters we define few things that we will see later. Now in title we said CSV import. So in the dialog box it must have come CSV import. Description, pick your CSV file from the media library, width 500, height 400. Okay. Then we have the form field inside the dialog box. So name CSV file. Title we have select. So name is basically the CSV file name which you are given. It is a variable. Okay. So name, variable name that will store the user input. Then we have a title. This select CSV from media library. Then we have a tooltip, browse and select the CSV file you are uploaded. Then editor, that is input type. Okay. So what is this input type? So input type is in our example we have given as item. So item tree is open. So whenever you are using the dialog box, the item tree picker will be used. And the next one is the root. So if you are using a editor is equal to item, this defines where the picker starts in the content tree. So for us it is starting from Sitecore media library. And the read variable is a command provided by Sitecore PowerShell, which will allow you to show a user prompt dialog inside a Sitecore. So let's take the example which we have run. I will show you the screenshot again and see this prompt. What happens? So when you run the script, okay, when you run the script, if you see this prompt has come, that is says CSV import, pick your CSV file from media library, and then this is media tree, like this is a tree that is open and is starting for media library. So that is what this script is doing. Now that the user has picked a CSV file from the media library, the next question is how do we actually read its content? So this part will define that. So in this, what we are doing is, first of all, we are checking the result is okay or not. So I will just explain this complete script. So how to get media item? So at this stage, CSV file is just a Sitecore item. So if this is CSV file, so that is your variable which we have taken from the prompt. Okay, so that is your Sitecore item. That means it knows the things like its name, its template and its ID. But remember, a CSV is stored in Sitecore. It is not just text, but it is saved as a media blob. Basically a binary file. So what we do, first we will cast a generic Sitecore item into a media item. Similarly, what we does in C# also. And then the key method here is the get media stream. When we call this Sitecore gives us an actual binary, the file stream of the CSV. So what are the important steps which we have to do here is, first is the .csv file is the Sitecore item that user is selected. So this file, this variable file which is holding, is basically your Sitecore item. Then media item is type of Sitecore data dot items item, right? So media item, this one which is from the CSV, it is basically a data items, right? So we need to cast this to a generic item, that is your media item object, right? This is same thing which we do in C# also. So this is a media item which we are converting or a casting here, Sitecore data dot items dot media item, and then this media item has a method called get media stream which is providing us the binary data. Okay, so it returns a binary file stream of the media file. Now why do we need this? Because without converting it, we would only see the metadata. By turning it into a media item, we can finally access the work within the real content of the file, that rows and column inside that CSV. In short, casting the item and calling get media stream is how we bridge the gap between Sitecore item metadata and the actual CSV file we need to process. Now in this stream we actually has the content. Alright, so now we have got the CSV file stream from the Sitecore. Now what we have to do next? So next thing is that save it into the temporary file by using import CSV. So how it works? We have created a temporary file on server. Think of it's a place where CSV live temporarily. Then we open a writable stream to that file and copied all the data from the Sitecore media stream into it. Once the copy is completed, we close the stream so that PowerShell can use it. Okay, so these are the very important steps. So the first is we create a temporary file path on the server. Then we import CSV needs a file path, not a memory stream. Okay, then we are creating a writable file stream at that path. Copy Sitecore CSV media stream into the temporary file. Close the stream to it's ready for reading, and then now the magic starts here. We ran the import CSV on that temp file. This transform of the raw CSV file into the collection of a PowerShell object. So read the temporary file with this import CSV file into the PowerShell object. Each row in the CSV becomes its own object and each column becomes properties. So now instead of dealing with the text, we can access things like a row title, row author directly. But before we move on, we also safeguard if the CSV is empty or invalid. So we pop up an error using show alert text and stops the process. So let me summarize here also. Save to temporary file. So here in this part, what we are doing is we are reading the file, we are getting that binary data and storing it as a temporary file here. Okay, and then import CSV does the magic here. It reads all the data and convert into the rows, and then if the rows basically maps all your fields, column to fields. Okay, and then this is the validation we are doing, if that has an data or not. If the CSV is empty, it will give you an alert. Okay, now why we did this? So basically Sitecore stores the file as a binary media file, binary blob, and PowerShell import CSV command does not understand the blob. So it only works with a real file sitting on the server. So that's the reason we have to convert that binary blob into the actual file. So this part is what import CSV is doing, where we are actually reading the file from the CSV and mapping it to the field. Now comes the exciting part, actually creating the items in the Sitecore from our CSV. If you see this code, it is similar to what we have done in the C#. So first we define the parent location. In this case, all our articles will live under Sitecore contain home article. So this is our parent. Okay, that's like telling Sitecore this is the folder which all new blocks should go. Next we loop through each row of the CSV. Okay, so before that we are also taking the template path here. We are defining the template path. So this is our template, and then we are reading the parent node here, and then we are looping here every row. Okay, but Sitecore has a rule that item name must be valid, so we run the title through a helper that generate a clean valid item name. So in this case here you are seeing propose valid item name, so you must have used that in C# also. So this is this is creating the valid item name. Okay, once we got the name, we create a new item using our predefined article template. At this point the item exists but it's empty. So in this case, see here, new item, this is where we are creating the new item and it's blank, there is no value in it. Okay, so now we begin the editing. So if you see this, if new item editing dot begin edit, so if you remember in C# also we does the similar kind of a thing. Okay, and then every item we are updating the data. Okay, so all the values in the rows we are filling it, we are mapping it here. Okay, but there is one special case. If you see here, this is for the image. In the thumbnail field we have the path, right? So if the CSV give us a reference path, we look it up into the Sitecore, and if it exists we assign it as a image field with the correct media ID. So this part where we are checking it, okay, and we are updating it as a media ID. Okay, and then we are ending it here. So finally we end the editing sessions to save the changes, and each created item we log a message in the console so you can see progress in the real time. And once the loop finishes, you have got hundreds of articles automatically created in Sitecore, all neatly structured with metadata and images. How it works, let's again summarize it. First we define where the items will be created. We loop through each CSV row. We generated a valid item name, then created a new item. We started begin the editing the new item, assigned field values from the CSV, then we handle the thumbnail field specially, and then we have saved and logged. So this is how we have created the CSV rows. So before closing, again we will go into the actual script and see the whole script again in the Visual Studio Code. We have seen this script in the pieces. Now let's see whole script together. Okay, so I have opened the script in the Visual Studio Code. So this part is basically your prompt, where we are defining your prompt. We are giving a prompt to the user to select a media library files in which we have uploaded our CSV. So this read variable will read the prompt, and that prompt variable name is this CSV file. Okay, so we have defined the prompt variable name here in the parameters. Okay, now the next if loop, what we are doing is we are checking whether result has any value or CSV has any value. If it is null, this means import has cancelled. So we are giving the message to the user that import has been cancelled. Okay, and the next part is this part where your media item is an this $CSV file is item which we are casting it to the media item. Okay, and then we are calling get media stream and reading it into the and passing it to the stream. The next step is to convert that stream in actual files, the temporary file. So we are using get template file name which create a temporary file, and there is a magical command import CSV which will read that file and map it to the rows. So column is mapped to the fields. Okay, then in this if loop we are checking whether there is any value in that rows or not. If it is not, well, there is no value, then we will say that CSV is empty and it's an error. If it is there, then we will go move ahead, and this is the core logic where we create an item. Okay, so we provide the parent item. For us it's home/articles, and then we also provide a template, which template we need to use. We get the parent item from this parent path. Okay, so it has an item. Now we loop each rows which we have read from the CSV file. Okay, the first thing is the Sitecore item should have a valid name. So we are using a title for a name. So propose valid item name will give you the correct item name. It validate the name and it converts the things which is not allowed, and then you will give you a correct item name. Okay, then we begin the editing. So this part is editing. Okay, so we start with begin editing, and then we are mapping each column with the field. Okay, but we have a thumbnail that is a special one because it's a media, not the text. So there we are converting this media item to a media field here. If you see this image, okay, so that it will store as an image. Okay, and then this editing.edit will save the item, and this will continue. So every time the item is created, we are writing it into the log. Okay, and once everything is done, the show alert will give you a message. So what message it will give? CSV import finished successful. So this is how the script is run. I'm again running this script in the Visual Studio. Let's run it again. You can select it, sample folder. Okay, just finishes, and it is created. Okay, so that's how it works. And that's it for today. You can get the script from my LinkedIn article or GitHub repository link given in the description. Do provide your feedback in the comment. If you found this video helpful, do share this video with your fellow developers. If you are new to the channel, please do consider subscribing to the channel and click on notification bell. Do join our growing community. Stay tuned for next episode. Thank you.